Hello everyone, Phil here, and welcome to a movie review on DSPReacts. Now, I know that I haven't done one of these in many months. The exciting thing is that to prepare for Halloween, this year I am going to review one horror movie a week for the next several weeks leading up to the Halloween holiday. And what I'm planning on doing is actually reviewing movies that tie in with each other as an ongoing series. So, for example, today we're going to start with the movie review of Halloween from 2018, the first in a trilogy of Halloween reboot movies that was meant to essentially have a bookend to the franchise. After so many Halloween movies having come out over the years and then an attempted reboot over a decade ago that basically didn't do very well, they wanted to do something different with the movies or the IP back in 2018. What I'll be doing in this review is reviewing the first movie, and then later on, over the course of October, I'll be reviewing both Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends to end off this entire trilogy and let you know my thoughts on all of it. For transparency here, I have not seen the Halloween movies in a long time. I have seen the original 2 or 3. I saw some of the crappy ones in the 90s and 2000s like H2O and Resurrection. So I know of it. I know of the general plot points. I'm not a big aficionado, so I don't know everything about it. But I'm going to try to give you my honest take and opinions on this movie. This time, the 2018 original film. And then, like I said, I'll be alternating with other horror films. But I will cover the entire trilogy over the course of this month. So if you're excited for that, you're in luck. A lot of horror movie coverage coming in the next few weeks. Okay? Now, spoiler alert. I'm going to be summarizing the entire plot of the movie right now, so you know what to expect. I'm not going to go over every plot point. If you haven't seen the movie, you don't want to be spoiled, don't watch this review. Okay? The interesting premise about Halloween 2018 is that it's a reboot and or a retelling because it essentially retcons a lot of the other Halloween movies. In the plot of Halloween 2018, it is 40 years after the events of the original Halloween, which took place in the late 1970s, that night when Michael Myers, as a nut job, went through his local town and ended up killing a whole bunch of people, trying to kill his sister Laurie Strode and killing a lot of others along the way. Dr. Loomis, who was his psychiatrist at the time, trying to stop him multiple times and failing, and I think Dr. Loomis ends up getting killed at one point during one of the movies. So I think, according to the plot of Halloween 2018, those original 2 to 3 movies did take place, but what happens is after he's captured at the end of those first few movies, he's been incarcerated for 40 years. So that means the events of movies like H2O and Halloween Resurrection never happened. So unfortunately, hoo-ha, Busta Rhymes had us all in check as he was fighting one-on-one with Michael Myers and kicking his ass. Yes, that actually happened, but not according to the plot of Halloween 2018. All of that stuff was just nonsense, so we can forget about all those terrible movies. Good. So then what really happens in Halloween 2018? Well, for 40 years, Michael Myers has been imprisoned in a mental institution, and you actually, for the first time, get to kind of see him as a human without the mask. Now, you don't see his full face, but you see side profiles and the like. It is kind of weird because it humanizes him and makes him feel like he's just a normal guy, but I actually feel like over the course of the movie, as he becomes the killer again, it actually makes it even more creepy to know this is a normal guy who's just so nuts, he can't be stopped. So, early on in the movie, Michael Myers is visited by 2 journalists who introduce the mask back to him, trying to goad him into saying something. In fact, his psychiatrist and doctor at this mental institution seems to be egging on these 2 journalists to try to get a rise out of Michael, but it doesn't seem to work. Now, what ends up happening is that there is going to be a prisoner transfer of Michael Myers to another facility where eventually he's going to be locked up forever and no one will ever be able to speak with him ever again. I guess after a certain period of time, they determine there's just nothing that can be done, so they're just going to lock him up for the rest of his life. Everyone knows about this in the town where he committed all those murders. And the person who's most on top of it is Laurie Strode, his former victim and or sister. Because one of the weird retcons also is that apparently she's not really his sister. I always thought in the original plot lines they were brother and sister, but I guess they've retconned that too, and now she was just someone he fixated on, and people got that misconstrued and thought she was the sister, but she's not. Figure that one out. So in the plot of the movie, Laurie Strode has been absolutely obsessed with Michael Myers for 40 years. She had her own daughter, And when they were growing up, she basically became a survivalist. She built a cabin out in the woods. She loaded it with weapons and traps. She taught her daughter exactly what to do for when Michael Myers will return, and basically turned him into a boogeyman character so that her daughter would forever be ready to protect herself from him. Well, at 12 years old, her daughter was taken from her by Child Protective Services because she was deemed unfit to be a parent after seeing this crazy, grueling stuff that she was putting her daughter through to prepare for the return of Michael. And her daughter is now grown up, become an adult, and has her own family with her own teenage daughter. So basically, it's 3 generations of Strodes now embroiled in this plot line. Well, Laurie Strode visits her family to basically try to be normal. But she can't stop herself from being eccentric and weird, freaking out about Michael Myers, that he's going to come back, and warning them that, oh, there's a prisoner transfer and all of that. Of course, no one believes her, and everyone's like, you're just a nut job, Grandma, leave us all alone. So, what ends up happening, of course? Michael Myers escapes. What a shocking twist. And it's one of the worst, silliest ways. A prisoner transfer on a bus, all these dangerous criminals, these nut jobs, these people who've been in a mental institution for decades, are put on a bus together with one guard. That really sounds great. No police escort, nothing. Of course, I guess you have to suspend your disbelief for these movies, but obviously this is one of the huge plot holes that makes absolutely no sense. Why on earth would this work? It's a setup for disaster. So, of course, Michael Myers breaks free. He kills the guard. He escapes. One of the interesting twists is that he does not kill the doctor. And I found that funny. I wonder why he didn't kill the doctor, because he killed Dr. Loomis in the previous movies. Why would he not kill the doctor here? I don't know. Anyway, he goes back to the original town and starts stalking people. You assume that he's out to kill Laurie Strode. How on earth he would have known about the other family members, I don't know. But basically, he goes on a homicidal rampage. And one of the interesting things is that the first people he runs into are the journalists who tried to interview him at the asylum. And they have his original Michael Myers mask, so he kills them and takes it out of their trunk. What a humongous coincidence that he would run into them at a truck stop and get that, right? I mean, again, here we go. Suspend your disbelief for this kind of movie. As he gets back to the town, it's Halloween night. The kids are trick-or-treating, and he starts going on a homicidal rampage, walking into people's houses, grabbing hammers, grabbing weapons all around him, and basically killing tons of people, assuming he's trying to get to Laurie Strode, but it's not really clear. Well, Laurie Strode gets wind that he escaped, and she returns to the town herself from her seclusion in the woods in the cabin and tries to hunt him down. And between her and essentially a sheriff, they track him down and start to fight him, and they shoot him, and all this kind of stuff happens. Well, eventually what ends up happening is the teenage, the granddaughter is out at a party and all of this going on, and basically the granddaughter, it gets stalked by Michael Myers. How? I have absolutely no idea. I don't know how that works. I don't know. I really have no clue how Michael Myers ran into her, because she was out having a party. It was all this teen angst plotline and everything that you could just skip, but that's always what they put into these kind of movies. But somehow Michael Myers is chasing the granddaughter, trying to kill her. How did he know? Is he psychic? How does he know that Laurie Strode has a granddaughter? I have no idea. Maybe it's just coincidence. Anyway, she eventually hooks up with the deputy and the doctor, and they're all in a police car together. And then they run into Michael Myers. So they run him down, but then, big twist, the doctor kills the sheriff, because the doctor wants to know what makes Michael tick, enabling Michael Myers to essentially go free. Even though they just hit him with a car, he recovers magically, just like he does in all these movies. So the daughter ends up running out into the woods by herself to try to get away from Michael, and the doctor gets murdered by Michael. Ha ha. Kind of like poetic justice, right? In the meantime, since the word has got out that Michael Myers is running amok in the town, Laurie Strode grabs her daughter and says, we got to go out to the cabin and basically go into lockdown mode like I taught you. So they agree to do this. And then they go out to the cabin, and they're in lockdown mode waiting for Michael to show up. Of course Michael shows up. How does he know the cabin's out there? Don't know, but eventually he shows up, okay? So the daughter and Laurie are trying to fight off Michael Myers. And as this is happening, the granddaughter arrives, all right? Now, admittedly, one of the best parts of the movie is the ending, in my opinion. And a lot of people, I guess, don't like the ending. I liked it. So here's the thing. As soon as Michael Myers reemerged in the town, everyone believed Laurie Strode. They're like, wow, she was right all along. So there was always a plan in place to trap and kill Michael Myers, but you don't know that during the course of the movie. The last 15 minutes of the movie, the plot is hatched. Essentially, the goal is to have the family lure Michael Myers into the basement of this cabin that Laurie Strode is put out in the woods. The cabin is essentially a trap. In fact, one of the biggest quotes of the movie, Laurie says, "You thought that I was trapped in a cage. No, I was trapping Michael here all along." So they lure Michael into the basement. They pull all these levers. These bars come across. He can't get out. It's literally a professional grade trap. There's no way for him to escape the basement. And then they burn down the house, and that's the end of the movie. Of course, there's a lot of gore. There's a lot of really interesting kills in this movie. People's heads being caved in, people being impaled. He steps on one guy's head and pops it like a grate. All kinds of brutal stuff that you would expect from a Halloween-style horror movie. The end of the movie is that Michael died in the fire, and that's it. It just ends right there. So it's obvious with an abrupt ending like that there's going to be some kind of a follow-up. That's not really the ending. It's just the end of the first movie. So there's some things I like about Halloween 2018, and there's some that I don't. I definitely like that they retconned all of the bullshit sequels that really didn't make any sense. Do you remember in one of them, supposedly Laurie murders Michael, and that was supposed to be the end of the franchise, but then they wanted to make more money? So in the next movie, they say, oh, that wasn't Michael. That was actually someone in a Michael mask who had been disabled by Michael. He couldn't speak, and you chopped off the wrong guy's head. Right. What a horrible way to change the ending of the previous movie. I'm glad they took all that crap out, okay? At the same time, the movie had so much campiness and silly suspend your disbelief moments. Like, yeah, no police escort for an entire bus full of, former bloodthirsty murderers and criminals. People just doing asinine, really stupid things in the town. Michael being psychic and knowing where the family members are that he wants to hunt down. None of that really seems to make any sense whatsoever. There's also that weird plot line. Laurie Strode apparently is not Michael's sister. That was always a part of the original movies, and for some reason that's been changed, and I'm not sure why. I don't know what plot device that's for. Maybe in a future movie that'll be explained. But I always thought he wanted to hunt down his sister, who was the ultimate survivor, and now for some reason she's not his sister anymore, so that's a little weird. But for the most part, the plot was interesting, and the twist at the end of how they caught him and killed him was actually really good. Now, the thing is, we know this is a trilogy of movies, so we know he didn't die in that fire, right? So I have no idea where this is going to go. Obviously, he's going to come back probably even more pissed off, and maybe, try to hunt them down again. But it's weird because the movie really does feel like almost a retelling of the original story, only with a modern twist because it's 40 years later. There's a trap house, little different. But I enjoyed it overall. I didn't love it. It's definitely not the best slasher movie I've seen, but I think that they tried to make an effort to bring the old school slasher movie back to a modern audience. A lot of the horror movies recently have not been this kind of movie. It's psychological horror, or it's like shock value horror. And in this case, we're back to the old formula of slasher film. And I think it actually kind of worked if you like that kind of movie. If you're looking for something that makes a lot of sense, you're not going to like this movie. If you're looking for something that follows the plotline of all the previous Halloweens, you're also not going to like this movie because they changed so much stuff. But I enjoyed it for what it was. However, I'm a little skeptical that they're going to turn that movie into 3. So I guess we'll see over the course of this next month as I see the next 2 what I think. But for now, I give it a thumbs up, but not a strong thumbs up. It's kind of like it's good. It's a watch if you like the originals and you want to get back into Halloween kind of as a franchise. But I don't know where they're going with the next one, so I thought it was all right, but not great. All right, I hope you enjoyed my review of Halloween 2018. There should be 4 more horror movie reviews coming up over the course of the next month here on DSP Reacts. The next one will not be a Halloween movie. It'll be a Scream movie. But I'll be talking about Halloween Kills in a couple of weeks, so I hope you'll come back for that. And of course, as always, please leave comments on this video to let me know what you think. Please like the video if you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll come back for more movie reviews over the next month here on DSP Reacts. Thank you for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.